Hey there everybody, and welcome back to more Silent Hill Downpour. Well, last time we narrowly escaped from the Centennial Building, though in the process we did lose our dear friend on the radio, DJ Ricks. But he was nice enough to tell us that there is a boat called Freedom waiting for us. Though it does seem that the postman has a little bit of a delivery that we're going to have to take care of before we can get to that. Though I did want to take a look in the inventory to see if that letter was indeed waiting for us, but it doesn't seem that we actually have the letter. So I guess we're just going to have to be left in the dark as to what we're actually supposed to be delivering. But before we actually get to any of that main storyline stuff, we actually have a brand new area that we're in right now, known as Chaston Heights. While visually it does share a lot of themes with Pearl Creek, it's actually a brand new area, and that means plenty of brand new side quests. One of the more complicated ones we're going to have to do is actually going to be in the cinemas there, but we're going to have to get something first before we can get that started. And I think I might actually be getting the hang of these screamers. Or maybe I was just a bit lucky there. But overall, Chaston Heights is actually a pretty small area, especially in comparison to the Pearl Creek area we just left previously. But I think what really makes the difference here is the fact that these side quests we'll find are actually really interesting. Though in the case of some of them, we are going to have to do a bit of backtracking, because as you can probably tell, we don't actually have a poker available. So we're going to have to keep in mind where this barrel is and when we bring back a shovel, but we can at least pick up a mystery over in this area. It's actually another little bit of information regarding an abducted boy. Whether or not this is Murphy's kid or just keeping with the theme of kidnapped children, it's a bit hard to say. But it does seem that there are quite an underlying idea of just kidnapped children in this game. And I just wanted to get a bit of exploring out of the way while also getting rid of those two screamers. Another rather different part about this particular area of the game is the fact that unlike some of the other areas, well, that little hallway down there will actually lead us into the next area of Silent Hill. But, well, we don't want to let curiosity get the best of us. Instead, I think I just want to get a quick little med kit down in this area. And we do find a shovel. That means we can get whatever was next to that barrel. And we'll be finding out what that symbol is for much later on. But yeah, as you can see, we can actually just go straight down into the next area, but there's actually wouldn't be too much we can do down there. So we'll just go ahead and get Chaston Heights done with for right now. And an even better way to get rid of that screamer is to duck inside this nearby building. Now, it may not have been very easy to see on the outside, but this is actually a thrift store. And while it may not seem like there are very many items up for sale, I think we will be finding something of use waiting for us in the back room. But what do we find amongst all the junk and boxes? But a shabby old coat. Now, if you remember, we did find someone that was actually in need of some warmth. So I think we're going to be making a little backtracking excursion. But actually, if you were playing on a harder difficulty, the jacket would still be in here, but it would just be pretty much in that back little hallway there. But actually, let's go ahead and backtrack. Back all the way to our good homeless friend, Homer.
Here you go. See if this fits.
Say, that's nice. Real nice. Maybe you're a good one after all. Show me that map again. This ought to help you on your travels.
And just like that, we now have a shortcut to Chaston Heights and back to Hillside if we really needed it.
Tell you what, instead of my living like some scavenger out here, I could use a way to fend for myself. That lake out there's full of fish. If I had a rod and reel, I could feed myself. Teach a man to fish and all that, right? You bring me that rod, and I'll show you another shortcut.
And we actually get the final part of Homer's quest, though I wouldn't really recommend eating the fish out of Toluca Lake. I don't really think he would listen to us. But since we do have to backtrack all the way to Chaston Heights, it does give me an opportunity to actually show off how these shortcuts work. Yeah, whenever we help Homer out and he gives us directions, we can actually walk into these underground tunnels here. And as we can look up, we can see just where the tunnels are heading. So there isn't too much of a difficulty in regards to getting lost. But by heading through the mysterious fog, we get teleported straight to the area. Now, while normally we could walk through the fog without any kind of a problem, the main reason we actually have to talk to Homer in the first place and get his help is that once we get through the fog, normally these doors would actually be locked. But thankfully, with our good-natured spirit, we actually find that the doors are now mysteriously unlocked. And we don't have to deal with any nasty enemies or rain or any of that horrible stuff. The only thing we really have to deal with is the fact that the game really wasn't meant to load this quickly, so sometimes if you're in a rush, you'll kind of find yourself in the middle of loading textures. But as you can also tell, I did manage to pick up a poker on my way over to Homer. So that means we can now investigate what is waiting for us up in this apartment. Also, I did decide to drop off the shovel before making my way over, so we can see what artifact is waiting for us. And what do we find? Ah, I think that is the mark of Metatron or Samuel. I honestly get them confused. But waiting for us up in this apartment is actually one of my more favorite side quests of the game. It actually comes off as a pretty innocuous looking apartment. Obviously there has been these signs of a, well, struggle would be a bit of an understatement in the situation. But outside of the gore on the wall and the general disarray surrounding us, well, there doesn't seem to be too much to the apartment. I do like, though, that as we do head through, we do see that there are rather sublime hints that there indeed was a family living here at some point. And what do we find in the nursery but our first item that we'll need for this side quest? A crank handle. Also in the bathroom here, I think we do find a first aid kit. And in the master bedroom here, outside all the gore, we do find a record. Otherwise, though, this seems like a pretty vacant apartment. But what the avid viewer might have noticed as we had first entered in was that there was a phonograph waiting for us down here. And as you can assume, it was missing a few bits and bobs. Thankfully, we did manage to find everything we need to get it back in working order. And let's see what song it has to play for us. Why, it seems that we've harnessed the Song of Time.
What does that mean?
And we get a oh-so-subtle hint as to what we need to next do with the phonograph. And that is to merely play it in reverse. And after that really gruesome but interesting scene, we are harkened back to the days of the room where we have to deal with a very violent and very annoying ghost. Thankfully, the murdered family members are nice enough to give us a hint as to what we need to do here. And that is merely to put his soul to rest in the most fiery way possible. So we have another good deed down. And you might be wondering just what is our reward for finally putting this family's soul to rest. And your answer would be a feeling of a job well done, I guess. Yeah, there's no real reward. It's just a nice little set piece. I mean, I guess we did get a few medkits out of it, and that's pretty much it. But I think we're going to go ahead and bid this family adieu. Hopefully they now have the rest they sought. And now we're actually going to continue on up the street, because we do have a much more involved side quest waiting for us. Also, if you can believe it, we've actually almost fully explored Chaston Heights. Now, over that way is actually the St. Maria's Orphanage, where we do need to deliver that letter. And we will be getting to that at some point. But for right now, we have another store to go loot. And this one actually has quite a few nice goodies waiting for us. Some of them are a bit hard to see, while I admire some of the wonderful artwork. But our first item of interest is behind the counter here. You probably see the shadow of it there. But it is our next ranged weapon, the shotgun. Yeah, the shotgun is actually a very dangerous weapon in this game. You don't actually get too many bullets for it, but I think we'll be able to make do. Also, you saw there that we did get a very large bulb. And that's actually what we're going to need for the cinema. And if you're wondering where the key is for this back room, it's actually not too far away. Though it is very easy to miss. And while initially it may seem like there isn't really anything to this back room, no ammo, no medkits, nothing like that. If we do take a little look around, we do find just what we were looking for. Well, after I move this box a little bit more. I don't know why, but it was just deciding that the box being there was not congruent with me picking up that painting. And who doesn't love some box pushing puzzles? Yeah, we actually find, I'm wanting to say this is the second to last painting that I'm still having troubles picking up. But it might actually be the last one. Either way, we're actually almost done with that particular side quest. But actually all we really needed in there was that bulb, because we can now head all the way back down to the cinema. Also, I just really love the little clues you can pick up on with the UV light. And we get to probably what is I honestly love this little side quest. Not only because the fact that it's actually pretty well thought out, but actually because it's more involved than just go kill X number of enemies or go pick up these number of items. Yeah, we're actually going to take a little trip to the movies. We already picked up our first film reel. And it definitely seems like whatever that wheelchair-bound thing is also taking in a movie himself. But there are quite a few movie posters. Obviously, for made-up films, they don't really give any... at least I don't think any of these are direct references to actual movies. And it is a good idea to explore as thoroughly as possible. It's actually pretty easy to overlook some of the items, especially items necessary to complete the side quest in this area. But in case you did miss that change all the way back in the diner, you can still pick up some there. Sure, we'll be needing it for a future endeavor. And outside of the hole in the wall leading us further into the theater, we also find our second film reel. And it looks like our trail ends here. And it indeed looks like we have a packed house. So there really isn't too much to these little rooms over here. There are just a few collection of posters in case you wanted a closer look at them. Otherwise it is very much a dead end. And invariably, we do find our way all the way up to the projection room. We do find another mystery that gives us the lowdown regarding film splicing. And while it may seem initially that the directions are pretty complicated and that we'll have to be doing some maths, we're actually not going to have to be doing anything that complicated. We do find, though, in this little back room here, our final film reel. And if you had come in here before getting that light bulb, you would have actually run into this first roadblock here. Yeah. Outside of the keypad, there does seem to be something missing from the projector. And wouldn't you know it, we did come prepared. We do have the replacement bulb.
That ought to do it.
Yeah. So now with our film reels in hand, we can now check out just what we've been holding on to. First one being the house on the lake.
Screen. It looks real.
Yeah, it looks real enough that well, it's just coming straight out of the screen at us. And we find ourselves mysteriously transported into a sepia-toned world. You might actually remember this particular house from a dream that Murphy had on the prison bus in, I think, the first update. Still no real idea as to what this house is supposed to be or what it symbolizes, but, well, I get the feeling that we should probably investigate. Initially, it may not seem that there is really anything to this room, but we do find a crank. And a few odds and ends that we can just kind of push over, but I don't know. It just seems a pretty vacant area. Well, actually a pretty short vacant area. But what we actually want to bring our attention to is the fact that there is a number scrawled on the wall there. And hopefully in all that scary door shutting you didn't forget that number, because we will definitely be needing it. For right now, though, we have actually done all that we can do in this current film reel. We do have another 2 film reels to go through. And that does kind of bring up one of the shortcomings in regards to this particular side quest. While I do enjoy it as a set of individual set pieces, it does become a bit repetitive, as you do have to continually backtrack and see this particular animation done, well, 3 or 4 times over. But we now find ourselves in a completely new area. We have never seen this area before. I'm not even sure what it's supposed to be. Maybe an orphanage? Not actually certain. Here on the desk we do find what appears to be a jack-in-the-box. Maybe I can use that crank. Well, I guess things that we find in the movie we can't just carry over with us. And we do see another set of numbers. Otherwise, there really isn't much to this particular film either. So we now just have one more film reel to check out. And for our final film, we will check out to see what is the secret in the attic. And what do we find in the attic but...
Do these numbers mean something?
Well, we do find our final number. It's actually over there on the window. It's just the number 1. And additionally, we also find a locked chest. So now that we have actually gotten all the numbers we need, we're actually going to be able to use that keypad up by the projector and see what's waiting for us on the other side of the door. So using all of the numbers we got from the films in the order that we, well, obtained them, now have the ability to unlock the door, making sure to pick up the final film canister. Film reel, I should say. Because waiting for us on the other side of this door is the film splicing machine that we heard about before. And from 3 separate reels, we now have one complete movie, The Secret of the Child at the Lake. So let's go ahead and see just how well our splicing work turned out. Well, this is definitely the film we've ventured into before. And you may be wondering why we are revisiting it yet again, especially after we spliced all 3 films together. But I think, well, if you put a little bit of thought into it, it'll probably become pretty evident what the change will be. First things first, though, we do want to make a little stop to pick up that crank we saw earlier. And by checking in this back room here, we find that what was previously a dead end will now continue on into the next film. And that's right, all these separate film reels that we saw are actually connected into one singular thought now. And that means that the crank that we lost before, now used to open up this jack-in-the-box. And as you can probably assume, that ladder that we saw last time is going to lead us straight into the secret waiting in the attic. And just what is our big reward waiting for us in the chest? Why, it's a James Bond reference. And a surprise attack. But it does give a nice opportunity to show off just how great the shotgun can be. But yeah, for all of our efforts going through each individual film and doing this little self-contained side quest here, we do get a magical golden gun. I'll just leave the nail gun there. We will be picking up a nail gun again. But yeah, the golden gun here is, as you can imagine, a pretty powerful pistol. It is indeed more powerful than the normal handgun. And as, well, you can probably assume, this is the only place to get the golden gun in the entire game, so, well, hopefully you don't throw it away at any time. But with our reward, we do have to make a journey back through all the movies. And, well, we aren't going to have to deal with just one screamer. That would be a bit too easy. But we do get a little bit of catharsis after all that annoying combat in the mines. And we actually do have one final enemy to deal with out here. We get to show this prisoner just how much of a golden gangster we are. And with that, we have actually completed all the side quests available to us in Chaston Heights. So that means we are going to head straight up to St. Maria's Orphanage now. And I think this is going to be a good stopping place as any, Got a nice creepy visage waiting for us. So hopefully you'll join me next time as we deliver the letter and see just what is waiting for us inside St. Maria's Orphanage. See you next time.